Welcome to Queer Spotlight. Today we're joined by Alejandro Asencio, the DJ and event producer behind Lady Olé, London's iconic Spanish pop party. Known for his earlier hit night, Pelucas y Tacones, Alejandro also co-runs Cloud9 Sound System and collaborates with Churros con Chocolate in Barcelona, bringing queer joy and energetic music wherever he goes.
Alejandro, great to have you. How's it going?
Thank you for having me, Matthias. It's going very well. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be taking part. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's dive into it. Why, where, and from whom was Pelucas y Tacones created?
Okay, Pelucas y Tacones, we're talking about almost 20 years ago. The where, it was in Soho at a bar called First Out Cafe that was run and frequented by lesbians. The owner, Maria, she liked to celebrate her birthday and invite all her friends, and she wanted Spanish music. So what happened is that Noelia was my partner in Pelucas y Tacones. We'll come to that. Noelia started to run birthday parties as Pelucas y Tacones for Maria, the owner of the club.
Okay.
So that's the where and the why. So we got First Out Cafe, and it was a birthday party. And it was, back in the day, surprisingly, a party for lesbians.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
Can you share some of the craziest nights or most memorable moments from those?
We had quite a few. We spent 2 years at First Out Cafe, and then the party got very popular. I started bringing in the boys. The lesbians got a little bit scared, and then we moved to Concrete in Shoreditch High Street, and then we had room to play. It was a great space. It was a kind of a proper club, nice basement, and we could just do whatever we wanted. I remember a night where the theme was bedtime stories, and I asked people to bring their pillows to do a pillow fight. I had no idea how it was going to turn out. At some point, I told people, okay, start a pillow fight. Everyone started, fighting with the pillows and smashing the pillows, and then it was feathers and feathers and feathers all over the place. Now, what was really funny is that management obviously got quite upset with me because I had to clean that. Like feathers are like really light and very complicated to clean. And then years after, we would still doing parties there, and we would see a feather behind a bottle, feathers stuck in the air contact. I mean, it was that would have been my favorite memory. But we also had a night that was themed punk, and we had a band from Spain called Puti Latex. They came, they performed, they gave us a great show. The singer was spitting onto people. I mean, it was like,
good old punk days.
Anything could have happened. And then we also had one of our biggest references, who is Alaska, reference for the queer community in Spain back in the 70s and 80s. And she just turned up one day. Like, I was DJing, and the security guy came and said, there's Alaska and Mario Vaquerizo at the door. Can you please come and get them? And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you telling me that these two people are at my party and they want to get in? So I ran out to the door, and there she was, an icon, someone who I had admired for all my life, and she wanted to come into the party. That was a turning point for Pelucas y Tacones, because obviously we didn't have social media in the way we have it today.
Oh, yeah.
So people were not sharing photos on Instagram or anything like this, but word of mouth was what made them Pelucas y Tacones become a busier and an iconic party. Yeah. So that would have been one of the turning points. Many memories. I mean, there was also the first boat party we did in a really rundown boat, like in proper Pelucas y Tacones style. Now we have a bit of a better boat. Like we've evolved. We use the nicer boats now, but back in the day, it was like a really bad sound system on a really poor boat. And I remember one of the drag queens, Nikita, she wanted to do a selfie, and she dropped the phone in the water. So, quite a few memories like these. And then everyone who left that party, I guess that because of the swing of the boat, everyone came out as if they had been like taking drugs for like 10 years, but everyone like came out so dizzy, and then we went all partying. So, I mean, there's quite a few memories that I treasure. Some of them I no longer have, because I might have been a little bit
Oh yeah.
you
Well,
know, enjoying too much. So, but many to tell, many to tell.
so why did you transition from Pelucas y Tacones to Lady Olé?
Well, there were quite a few reasons. Around that time, when we were turning 10 years old, my business partner was living in Madrid, Noelia. This was a joint adventure. Noelia and I were running the party. She lived in Madrid. I was living in London. I was also doing parties in Manchester, Berlin, Brighton, as Pelucas y Tacones. And it got to a point where I needed someone a little bit more on the job. And so I had Noelia was extremely busy. She's a biologist, and she had also a lot of stress coming from her daytime job. I had a bit more freedom. I wanted to have a bit more freedom as well. So we had a conversation, and we got to the agreement that I should start a different party and just name it differently, and then take it from there. And there was also the music issue or the music subject where Pelucas y Tacones was very constrained to play only Spanish music. And at certain point, we as organizers were getting tired of always playing the same music, but we also thought that people coming to the party were getting bored of always listening to the same records. So we thought, let's just change it. When you turn 10 years old in the music industry and you know in club night, in club life, you have to make sure you start to offer something a little bit different, because obviously the generations are going to change, different ages are going to come into play. So all these things mean that you can't get started. You need to evolve.
Yeah, you need to have a lot of diversity and keep people entertained.
You have to evolve. So that's why.
So what makes Lady Olé special, and how does it stand out from other events within in the London area?
What makes Lady Olé special? I think no one in London does it like we do. We bring in trashy, queer Spanish music into the club scene in London, but we also bring in like Eurodance and pop music in general. And if you go out, you know, if you see all the nights in London, especially queer nights, are very polished these days. You know, like the looks have to be like this, and the drag queens have to be like that, and everything has to be perfect, which I understand. Well, we come from a different place, and I think Pelucas y Tacones was punk. Lady Olé is not 100% punk, but it's still a little bit punk in its roots and its origins, and also in the way in the way we do things. So I think that makes it stand out. But mostly, it's to do with what we've built. So with the community that we've built is a very niche party to people who miss listening to the records, you know, to immigrants who miss listening to the music they grew up with. So that brings a nostalgia element as well, and makes something very unique, which is Lady Olé. I think anyone who comes, regardless of them knowing the music or not, they feel that the vibe is high and that the energy is good.
Yeah. And with that, so who comes to Lady Olé? Who is your crowd or audience?
Well, I would like to say Lady Olé crowd can be anyone. I mean, I've always wanted to, to put this message out. We're not a strictly Spanish only party, Spanish only type of party. I never wanted that. I mean, I think it's great that we can offer this to the Spanish community, the Spanish queer community living in London. But I never understood, or I never liked myself when I went out parties that were, labeled in such a way that other people wouldn't be welcome. So the community can be anyone who's able to come and willing to have a good time. Now, Lady Olé community is mostly Spanish, Italian, LGBTQ people with their straight friends as well. So that'll be the people who mostly comes to the party. But there's also people like you. You also come to the parties.
Absolutely.
We have people from all over. I think that makes it really great. It's a bit of a Euro party these days.
It is. I think that makes it really special. I think sort of counting back to the early days where I felt like I was the only non-Spanish person there. But it's changed over the years.
And nowadays you get people from all over, and I like that. And sometimes to a point, like I doubt when I'm playing records, I was like, do people know this track? Do people know this track? Well, yeah, people do. People enjoy.
Yeah. So how do you ensure that your parties are always sold out, or making sure that people are coming back?
Well, how do I ensure? I suppose that hard work is behind it. There are many hours spent behind screens or behind the scenes as well, looking after. So either looking after the people who help run, like the close community or group of friends that help us put the parties together. We are a family. We are a family, and that's one of the most beautiful things that Pelucas y Tacones and Lady Olé has brought into our lives. But also there's care. I always wanted to do what I was doing in a way that was showing care for people. When I go out and when I go dancing, I don't like to go to places where I'm just another number. I like to walk into someone's party as if I was walking into someone's house and I was being looked after. And I think, in a way, Lady Olé does that. I mean, we are very, easygoing, very friendly, very warm. So I think like doing all these, plus, of course, knowing, having, and like knowing exactly what is it that you want to create, the space that you want to create, that makes it, I suppose, special, and that's why people keep coming.
No, I completely agree with that. Nightlife has been a space for self-expressions. How do you see the role evolving over the next couple of years?
Well, that's a good question. We're seeing a very complex political scenario going on at the moment. Of course, whatever happens with politics is going to affect nightlife. We've seen closures of nightclubs. We've seen bad things, but I'm not going to focus on the bad. I'm going to focus on the good things. We've also seen a lot of good things happening in recent years in terms of like people being more open-minded, a lot more of knowledge in terms of like gender politics, sexual preference politics, and I think it has opened up, and so whereas a few years ago we were not seeing certain type of parties, these days, if you look out on any listings for London, you will see that there are parties for couples who want to have like couple exchange or bisexual parties. There are parties for basically everyone in the rainbow. And I think that's really nice. And I think that nightlife will always keep evolving, and this is the place where we will be able to fight and to oppose whatever is going on out there politically.
Absolutely. So what changes have you noticed in London's queer scene over the last couple of years since you started?
Wow. Well, there's quite a few changes. Starting, I would say the most notorious change would have been the loss of spaces. We've lost so many clubs in recent years. But there's also like what I've seen happening more and more and more is how segmented everything is. Like I remember when I started clubbing and going out to parties here in London, that everything was very mixed. Like Twinks would go with Bears and with the Muscle Marys, and we were all together. Nowadays, it seems that everything is very targeted to a certain type of audience, and whereas I understand why they do that, I'm not a big fan. I like people to just be people and be hanging out with all sorts of people, because otherwise everything gets too homogeneous. So I would say that queer nightlife is a little bit too homogeneous for my liking these days. That's my perspective. That's what I think.
Okay. That gets us into the next questions. What other events do you enjoy and why?
Ooh, I'm a party girl. I enjoy a lot of events when I have the time, because I work almost every weekend, not only here in London, but also in Barcelona. So it's not that often that I go out. But when I do, I do. And there is, I would say there's one event that's still going on. In fact, it's going on while I'm here this time in London, which roots back to New York queer scenes in the late 60s, social movements, which is called The Loft. And The Loft started to happen in London back in 2001. I was studying music culture at this London University back then. And one of my teachers said, hey, this is going on. Would you like to volunteer? And then I started volunteering for that party. And that party set the roots for everything I've done afterwards. That party, the values are community, respect, and knowing how to look after a community. So it's basically based on house party values. So that party, I still go to that party. It's still going on strong after almost 50 years in New York, and it's turning 25 in London. That party branched out to a lot of similar events, and those would be the events where you would find me at when I'm not wearing my wigs and doing Lady Olé or churros con chocolate. These parties are about musical freedom and good sound systems. So you get a chance to like properly get into the music and lose yourself on the dance floor. I mean, those are the kind of events where I go. I also go to fetish events. I quite like it. I'm an audio. So there's like parties like obviously like Adonis, parties like Secret Sundays, which is not fetish but more like house oriented. Parties like Body and Soul. I mean, you give me a party with music I like, and that's where you find me dancing.
Oh, fantastic. For those who are dreaming launching their own events, what advice would you give?
Okay, hold on to that dream. Hold on to the dream. The best advice I can give you is trust yourself, believe in yourself, don't stop dreaming. But I know it sounds all very beautiful and blah, blah, blah. There are rough ends to all of these. But I think that if you have a good idea and a group of friends and you're a little bit of a natural leader, that's the best advice I can give you. Look after your friends, get them involved.
All right, great advice. Okay, so what's next for Lady Olé? Are there any other projects you're working on at the moment?
We're going to do As One, which is a festival happening in the park near Ealing Broadway this summer on the 19th of July. We have our annual boat party the next day, so it's going to be a heavy weekend. So you got festival on Saturday, boat on Sunday, get Monday off. And that's what we're doing. And then from September onward, it's our 10th season when we will turn 10 years old as a party, as Lady Olé. So there will be a lot of things happening. I'm not going to say anything else.
Exciting times. Do you watch a lot of queer films? And so which one has the most impact on you?
There is, I'm sure I don't know if you watched it last year, but there was a film that hit me hard when I watched it. It was called All of Us as Strangers.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I think it has become a classic now. It was really tough. When I watched it for the first time, like I left the cinema in tears, of course. It took me like 2 or 3 days to get over what the film talks about, loneliness and other issues that we face in our community. So that would have been one of the ones, if not the one that showed me the most in recent years.
Oh. And do you think there's still gaps in the queer storytelling scene, and what stories do you think still need to be told?
There will always be gaps. I mean, we're not, society evolves, we are evolving. We're talking about gender in a way that we were not talking a decade ago. We're talking about self-expression in a way that we were not talking 10 years ago. So I think what we have now won't be it. I mean, there are still a lot of stories that need to be told. We don't see many stories of lesbians, for example, lesbian couples. We don't see many stories of transgender kids. We see a lot of male to female transgender films, but not the other way around. We don't get to see many of female to male. So I think that even within what we are consuming today, there are huge gaps. I mean, there are stories of people living in poorer or in underdeveloped places whose stories are not being told, not because they don't matter, but because they don't have the means to tell them.
Yeah, I agree.
So think that's that's where the next generation of like, or the next wave of queer, we're still seeing a little bit of it. We have started to see a little bit of it, but I think that'll be the next big thing in queer cinema.
Oh, great. If you had a personal tagline, what would it be and why?
A personal tagline, it has always been "No day but today." Why? Well, because it comes from my favorite musical, Rent, which was also life changing when I watched it for the first time in the late '90s in Barcelona and then in New York. That stuck in my head. No day but today. Like, make the most of today. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, so make sure you are the best version of yourself today, and that, of course, offers a space for being shit. I mean, if you have a bad day, it's okay to have a bad day, but remember that today's today, so make the most of it.
Couldn't agree more with that. So what keeps you going in life and at work?
Dreams. I would say that dreaming. I remember, when I was younger, I used to say that I was a daydreamer, and I still think to this day that I'm a daydreamer. I think that when you work in fields like we do, like in cinema, in parties and events, in creative industries, you need to have dreams. If you don't have the capacity to visualize something that you've dreamed, then you get stuck in routine. Dreams might never get to where you want them, but you have fun in the way, and that's what motivates me. That's what gets me out of bed, and what gets me like sitting in front of a computer for like as many hours as I work on a daily basis. So that keeps me going, and knowing also that what you do has an impact on others, on other people's life. That you're providing a space and you're generating a space for other people to enjoy and to create community and to be themselves.
Alejandro, this has been awesome. Your passion for culture, music, and creating unforgettable spaces is truly inspiring. Lady Olé isn't just a party. I think it's a movement, a community, and a celebration for queer culture. Before we wrap up, where can people find out and stay updated on your upcoming events?
Well, for Lady Olé, we mostly communicate through our newsletter, and to join into that, just send an email to La Lady Olé. That's LALADYOLE @gmail.com, and we send just one monthly newsletter. We tell you what's going on, what the theme's going to be for the next party, where to find tickets. So that'll be the old school way, but we also we're also in line with new technologies and younger communities. So we are on Instagram at La Lady Olé, so at LALADYOLE, same as the Gmail account.
Fantastic, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story and for everything you keep doing for the London queer nightlife, and see you on the next dance floor.
Thank you for being part of the community. Your support matters. Thank you.